New York City, a metropolis that never sleeps, a place where every corner holds a story and every street whispers secrets of the past. A concrete jungle teeming with life, opportunity and danger. The city was a magnet for those seeking fortune and those running from their past. From the bustling avenues to the shadowy underworld, it has always been a city of ambition where dreams are chased and destinies forged. The streets were alive with the hopes of immigrants and the ambitions of the native-born. This is the story of one man who rose to power within the city's underbelly, casting a long, dark shadow over its streets. His influence was felt in every corner, from the darkest alleys to the highest echelons of power. Vito Genovese. A name synonymous with the American mafia, his rise to power was marked by cunning strategy and ruthless efficiency. His story is not for the faint of heart. It's a tale of brutal ambition, cold-blooded murder, and the insatiable hunger for power. Genovese's path was littered with the bodies of those who dared to stand in his way. A story that will transport you to the smoky backrooms of Little Italy, where deals were struck with a handshake and broken with a bullet. It was a world where loyalty was bought and sold, and betrayal was a constant threat. But it's also a story about the city itself. A city grappling with the throes of change, caught between the glamour of the Jazz Age and the harsh realities of the Great Depression. New York was a city of contrasts, where the rich and poor lived side by side. A city where the lines between right and wrong blurred in the pursuit of the American dream. It was a place where ambition could lead to greatness or ruin, and where the American dream was both a promise and a curse. This is the rise and fall of Vito Genovese, a journey into the heart of the mafia, a tale of power, corruption, and the relentless pursuit of control in a city that was both his kingdom and his downfall. Our story begins not on the mean streets of New York, but amidst the sun-drenched shores of Naples, Italy, a place where the azure waters kiss the golden sands, and life, though tough, is filled with a certain rustic charm. 1897. Vito Genovese is born into a world of poverty and limited opportunity. The narrow, winding streets of Naples are his playground, and the struggle for daily bread is a constant companion. Life is a constant struggle, a daily fight for survival. The air is thick with the scent of the sea, and the cries of street vendors painting a vivid picture of a community bound by hardship. But even as a child, Vito possesses an air of quiet intensity, a steely resolve that sets him apart. His eyes, deep and contemplative, reflect a maturity beyond his years. He learns the harsh realities of life early on, witnessing firsthand the power dynamics of his neighborhood, the subtle hierarchies of respect and fear. These lessons, etched into his young mind, will guide his future actions. In 1913, seeking a better life, the Genovese family embarks on a life-altering journey across the Atlantic. Their sights set on the glimmering promise of the New World. The voyage is long and arduous, filled with hope and uncertainty. They arrive in New York City, a bustling melting pot of cultures and aspirations. The city's towering skyline and crowded streets are a stark contrast to the familiar landscapes of Naples. Little do they know that their young Vito, instead of finding salvation, is about to be seduced by the city's dark underbelly, a world of violence and corruption that will forever shape his destiny. The shadows of New York will become his new playground, and the lessons from Naples will serve him well in this unforgiving environment. The Genovese family settles in Little Italy, a neighborhood teeming with Italian immigrants seeking their fortune. The streets are bustling with the sounds of vendors, children playing, and the chatter of families trying to make a new life in America. But life in the new world is not the idyllic dream they envisioned. The reality is harsh, with families crammed into tiny, dilapidated tenements, struggling to make ends meet. Poverty, prejudice, and limited opportunities force many to seek alternative paths to survival. The American dream seems out of reach for most, leading to desperation and tough choices. Vito, a young man hardened by his experiences, falls in with a rough crowd drawn to the allure of easy money and the camaraderie of the streets. The gang becomes his new family, offering a sense of belonging he never felt before. He begins running errands for local gangsters, petty thefts escalating to more serious crimes. Each successful job earns him more respect and deeper involvement in the criminal world. He quickly proves himself to be resourceful, ruthless, and fiercely loyal, qualities that do not go unnoticed. His reputation grows, and so does his influence within the gang. The rise of prohibition in the 1920s throws the city into chaos, creating a breeding ground for organized crime. Speakeasies and illegal bars pop up everywhere, fueling the underworld economy. The demand for illegal liquor explodes, and with it the power and influence of the mafia. Bootlegging becomes a lucrative business, attracting ambitious and ruthless individuals. Vito Genovese, with his cunning and ruthlessness, seizes the opportunity, quickly rising through the ranks of the burgeoning criminal underworld. His ambition knows no bounds, and he is determined to become one of the most powerful figures in organized crime. New York City groans under the weight of the Great Depression. But for Vito Genovese, it's a time of unprecedented prosperity and power. He becomes a key player in the Luciano crime family, one of the most formidable mafia organizations in the country. His ruthlessness knows no bounds. He eliminates rivals, consolidates his power, and expands his criminal empire. Bootlegging, extortion, gambling, Genovese's tentacles reach into every facet of the city's underworld. He earns a reputation as a shrewd strategist, a man who commands respect and instills fear in equal measure. His influence extends beyond the underworld, corrupting officials, infiltrating unions, and manipulating the levers of power to his advantage. He is on the ascent, his sights set on becoming the undisputed boss of all bosses. The 1940s and 50s mark the pinnacle of Genovese's reign. He is a force to be reckoned with, his name whispered in hushed tones from the back alleys of Little Italy to the opulent penthouses of Manhattan. He rules with an iron fist, demanding absolute loyalty and brooking no dissent. His enemies disappear, victims of his ruthlessness and carefully orchestrated violence. The streets run red with the blood of informants and rivals. But beneath the surface of his success, a storm is brewing. His ambition, his paranoia, and his insatiable thirst for power sow the seeds of his own destruction. He makes enemies, betrays allies, and attracts the unwanted attention of law enforcement, who are determined to bring down his empire. The late 1950s. The tide begins to turn against Vito Genovese. The authorities, led by the relentless Robert Kennedy, launch a full-scale offensive against organized crime. The net tightens around Genovese. Informants, fearing for their lives, break the sacred code of silence, their testimonies revealing the inner workings of his criminal enterprise. Indictments are handed down, charging him with racketeering, extortion, and conspiracy. His carefully constructed empire begins to crumble. In 1959, Vito Genovese, the once untouchable boss of all bosses, is found guilty of narcotics trafficking. He is sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. His fall is as swift and dramatic as his rise to power. The kingpin is dethroned, his empire dismantled, his legacy tarnished. He spends the rest of his days behind bars, a shadow of his former self. He dies in prison in 1969, his reign of terror over, his name forever synonymous with the brutality and corruption of the American mafia. Vito Genovese's death does not mark the end of the mafia, but it does signal the closing of a chapter in its bloody history. His reign, though brutal and destructive, leaves an indelible mark on the American underworld. His tactics, his ruthlessness, and his unwavering ambition become a blueprint for a new breed of mobsters, shaping the landscape of organized crime for decades to come. The story of Vito Genovese is a cautionary tale, a reminder of the seductive power of ambition and the corrosive effects of corruption. But it is also a testament to the enduring spirit of New York City. Despite the scars left by Genovese and his ilk, the city has emerged stronger. Its streets are testament to its ability to overcome adversity. The mafia, though never eradicated, has been pushed back into the shadows, its grip on the city loosened. The legacy of Vito Genovese serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance, of the need to confront corruption and injustice wherever it may lurk. It is a story that continues to resonate today, a reminder that even in the face of darkness, the human spirit, like the city itself, can endure and ultimately triumph.